This is the Gary Cantrell Podcast.
The Gary Cantrell Podcast, Sunday, May the 10th, 2020. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another show. This is the weekend edition where I give you updates on me. It's like my personal journal style podcast, and I got to tell you, it's really windy outside. I'm hoping that this does not pick up on the mic, but if it does, I'm sorry. Today, by the way, happens to be Mother's Day, so I want to wish my beautiful mother a happy Mother's Day. If the camera will focus, there it is. Love you, Mom. In case you're watching, we're actually due for a walk later. So we've got this weekly walk that we do now every weekend. Sometimes it's Saturday, sometimes it's Sunday, depending on the weather. That's really what it's all dependent on. And today it looks beautiful out. As you can tell, if you're watching me on the video, you can see that I've got some great sunlight rolling in here to my office. But I do hear the wind, so I'm a little worried about that. It's kind of unseasonably cold here in Virginia. Yesterday was like in the 40s or 50s, and I'm like, it's May. Like, what are we doing with this? Like, why is it this cold in the month of May? I know it's early May, but it's still May. It should be warmer. But when has anything right now in 2020 ever made great sense at all? I mean, I don't know that 2020 has made a whole lot of sense to begin with. It's been kind of a wild year. And I'm not going to be one of those people where I'm like, I can't wait for 2020 to be over, but I'm also like, I'm waiting for 2020 to show me some sense of normal, whatever that is. I was actually watching the UFC fight last night, and it was an empty arena show, much like the wrestling, and it was so weird. This whole freaking thing is weird, but anyway, the latest with me, we'll talk about that real quick. Just to follow up for my podcast on Monday, my wrist feels much better today. Actually, it's felt much better all week. Once Tuesday and Wednesday rolled around, it really started to feel a lot more, like normal. And I was very, very pleased with that. Speaking of which, I did the podcast on Monday. Today is actually Sunday, so I feel like even more accomplished now that I got the podcast out on Sunday as opposed to Monday. Not that Monday is a bad day. A lot of people don't like Monday. Monday gets a bad rep. I have no problem with Monday. But the whole idea of this podcast on the weekend was to be on the weekend and not on Monday or Tuesday or whatever. So I feel a lot more accomplished knowing that I got the podcast out on the weekend. And this is part of just a bigger theme of my life right now where I'm really trying to get things more in order. I've been writing stuff down a lot, which is something that I used to not do. My handwriting sucks, by the way. So whenever I'm writing stuff down, I just use the trusty iPad, with the keyboard, and I can just type everything down and keep all my notes and everything. I'm using an app called Trello right now, which kind of helps me organize all my projects, whether it be podcast editing, brand deal stuff with Instagram, or just, general thoughts, wanting to make videos on YouTube. Yes, I'm actually wanting to make more videos on YouTube. This is something, and it's kind of frustrating to me, and you're probably like, God, I've heard you go back and forth on this so many times. It's because, I keep having this desire to want to make videos, like not like podcasts that's on video, but in addition to this, like just general videos. I have a desire to do that. But, I get so many ideas, and then these ideas just kind of escape me. And it's because I'm not writing them down. And so now that I'm putting them down in this app, Trello, which is a great app to help me organize everything. Now that I have Trello to kind of help me get everything organized, and this is not like a sponsored or whatever. They have no idea who the hell I am. But now that I have this app to help me kind of get things organized, it's been like a game changer, honestly. Just putting down all my goals as it relates to, doing videos and ideas for videos and all this stuff. It's really helped me a lot to get focused. And again, going back to what I was saying a moment ago, it's really time that I get everything organized in my life, all these creative ideas, because if you are the creative type, you know that, you get a lot of ideas and you probably don't do most of them because you just, for whatever reason, could be laziness. I deal with that quite a bit. It could be lack of direction. Sometimes it could be lack of inspiration. I know with the times that we're in right now, a lot of people are just, maybe they're scared to pull the trigger on some cool stuff. They just don't know what to do. I'm here to say, write it down and, figure out what you want to do. And maybe if it's something that you really want to do, you can figure it out. And so that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm kind of figuring out, filtering some of these ideas. Like, okay, what's something that I'm actually going to do? What is something that actually makes sense to do? Things like that. That's kind of where my head's at. Because sometimes I have an idea for like a video or a podcast. I'm like, well, that could be cool, but I don't know if it translates well. So you write down kind of the pros and cons of why or why not it might be a good idea. And that's kind of where all this stuff comes from. It's just like live streaming. This is something that's been on my mind for over a year now. I think it was my January 2019 goals podcast where I talked about like streaming live on something like Twitch. And I've been putting it off for so freaking long. And it wasn't until recently when Canon announced that they had this beta where you could use your camera, the camera I'm talking into right here. You could use your camera as a webcam, but not even just a webcam. You can use it on like OBS and Zoom. I don't think it works on Skype yet, but you could use it for live streaming. And that's kind of been one of my holdbacks. I kind of have this thing of where if it doesn't look good, if it doesn't sound good, like I don't want to do it. And there are people that will tell you that that's not a good idea. You should just put something out. And a lot of people can become successful just putting stuff out, and eventually they make it better. As you grow and you evolve, you slowly make it better. You level up as you go along. Me, I kind of always have had this thing where I'm just like, if it doesn't look good, if it doesn't sound good, I don't want to put my name on it. I don't want to put it out there. And so I'm starting to come around on that a little bit. I'm starting to, get past that, because that's been a big holdup for me. It's held me back from doing a lot of things. So we're going to fix that. I definitely want to do some live streaming. I think that'll be a lot of fun. I don't know quite what the format is going to be yet for the live stream. I have not figured that out. I don't know if my current podcast kind of is a good format for that, but I know, like, for instance, the wrestling podcast I do, that would be something that would be cool for a live streaming format. So it's just kind of trial and error. You just got to figure it out. Basically, it's just like the video podcast here. So for those of you guys that are on YouTube or IGTV or Facebook that are watching this video right here, this was like a long time coming. I've done audio for 13 years now. And it kind of just dawned on me. I actually had the idea back, this would have been like August of last year, maybe. I was like, why don't I just start filming the podcast? Like, what's the harm in that? And then I was like, well, the weekly one I do with somebody, it's an hour long, and, does this person really want to go on video? Do they want to do that? And I don't want to pressure anybody. If they don't want to go on video, like, I don't care. It's fine. They don't have to. And then I was like, well, what if I just record my video and then I just put like their little picture down here somewhere? I could do that. So there's the thought of that. And then for those that want to go on video, they can go on video. It's up to them. And then this podcast right here, the weekly, like on the weekend, or almost every week anyway, I would come on the weekends, and this is kind of like my personal journal to share kind of my thoughts and my headspace and just get stuff off my mind. And I was like, okay, well, what if I just commit to doing these on video? And, at least then I can kind of test and see what it looks like. I can eventually evolve it, as you guys have started to see in some of the most recent videos. I've started to add little things on these videos to, give them a little something. And I think, 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, these videos are going to look even better. You might even be watching and say, well, they look great right now. That's true. But I do have goals, for these things. Like I want better lighting. I mean, this lighting right here is fine, but like, in a perfect world, I'd have the window closed and then I'd have like actual lights, like a proper backdrop so you don't see my Mario 3 poster back there. Just random thoughts I've had. But for now, just to record it and then edit it, I'm learning Final Cut Pro. I'm actually, this is kind of a crazy time because I'm learning Final Cut Pro and I'm learning Logic Pro pretty much at the same time. It's a little bit easier to edit audio as opposed to editing video. And so at some point I'm going to figure it out. And at some point I'm going to put something out and it's going to sound absolutely amazing. So that's the goal. That's what I'm working towards. And then eventually I actually found this cheap battery for this camera where it'll allow it to do continuous power. And so instead of having to blow batteries on it, I can actually just plug it into the wall. And that's going to help for live streaming. It's going to help for Zoom calls. It's going to help for a lot of things. And then who knows? At that point, who knows what we can do with all this amazing technology. I'm excited to figure it all out. I'm tired of being on the defensive, when it comes to life. I want to play offense. I want to run the ball down the damn field and do some amazing things. So I encourage you to figure out what are the things you want to do. Write that stuff down. Start figuring out a plan of how to put it in place and just go for it. You know what I mean? Like just go for it. So with that being said, I think I'm going to go ahead and get out of here. It's a nice day out and going to go out and walk with my mother in a little bit. And I probably already said that, but I'm going to get out of here for now. Thank you guys so much for listening. If you're listening to me on an Apple device or if you're watching this video on an Apple device, leave me a review, Apple Podcast. I'll put the link down below. It really helps for more discoverability of the podcast. If you're saying to yourself, oh, I love this podcast, it's so amazing. Gary, why don't you have more listeners? Because I need more people to share it. That's you. Help me out if you can. It costs nothing to share the podcast. It costs nothing to leave a review for the podcast. So if it's something that you truly like and enjoy, I would appreciate it if you would take a minute of your time to do that. And with that, I'm getting out of here. Thank you guys so much for listening, for watching, and I'll talk to you again next time. See ya. Oh, by the way, before you go, check this out. My dudes over at Everyman Jack have just put out some brand new hand sanitizer. This is citrus. It smells amazing. And I'm going to drop a link down below. As you know, I'm a brand ambassador for Everyman Jack. I have a code, a discount code. So go ahead and pop that in at checkout. They cut off a few cents for me. When you buy one of these or buy anything from their website, they have a lot of great products. I would not advertise anything that I don't truly believe in or use myself. So check out Everyman Jack. They are really, really amazing. And with that being said, I'm out of here for good. Thank you guys so much, and I'll talk to you again next time.